Great. So just laying down on your back on the mat. So beginning our gentle practice today by transitioning to the mat from all the busyness in our lives and all the busyness in our minds. And just giving ourselves these first few minutes to connect with the earth, allowing ourselves to be heavy on the mat, allowing the earth to hold us here. And make any tiny adjustment. So maybe lifting your hips and tucking the tailbone under to take a little strain off the low back. Lifting your chest and sliding the shoulder blades in underneath your back. Maybe lifting your head and making the neck just a little longer. So lengthening the head back on the neck. And then likewise, lift one leg slightly and lengthen it, and then dig the heel in, and then lift the other leg and lengthen it. Same thing with the arms. And take a moment to really sense your back body. So letting everything in your back be really heavy and connected down. And observing yourself as if you were outside yourself. So noticing how very still you seem to have become. And telling yourself that your job right now is to be still. So even though you may be tempted to think about other things, move in any way, just really try to stay still. And then just begin to connect with your breathing. So taking longer, fuller breaths and enjoying the process of breathing deeply and releasing as you breathe out. And maybe take the palms of your hands and rest them on your side or front ribs, just lightly there. And continue to breathe deep and feel the movement into your hands. So as you breathe in, feeling the ribs expand into the hands, and as you breathe out, feeling them coil back. And in our practice today, we're going to be paying special attention to a couple of areas, the mid and upper back and the back of your neck, back of your shoulders. So as we start our practice today, take stock of how these areas are feeling. Just feel the weight of your head on the mat and encourage your head to become heavier and softer. So you might feel the scalp soften a little bit. You might feel your forehead smooth a little bit. Notice your jaw and just move the lower jaw left and right a couple of times, just gently moving it, and then let it settle, and then come down to being aware of your neck, the back of the neck where it connects into the skull, and down the back of the neck where it connects into your shoulders and back. And again, just it's not a movement, just being aware of the sensations there and encouraging some softening. And then bring your awareness to your upper back and shoulders. So the big trapezoid muscles, kind of triangular shaped muscles at the top of your back, connecting your neck into your back and your shoulders. And again, noticing any tightness there, any sensation, and just allowing the right shoulder to soften, and then the left shoulder to soften. And the last bit, just go down a little lower to that space between the shoulder blades, between your scapula. There's a lot of layers of muscle here. Got your big latissimus dorsi that come up from your waist into a big V up into the shoulder blades. And then you have your trapezoids laid on top of that, uppers and lowers. And then inside, going left and right, or your rhomboids. A lot of muscle here. And some of us might be feeling a fair bit of tension in this area because of our change of circumstance, being at home more, maybe being on the computer more, or doing jigsaw puzzles or cooking more, all of the things that we do where we tilt our head forward. And when we tilt the head forward, we put strain on the neck and the back. And then what can start to happen there is then we start to round the back, making it even worse. So we're going to focus on this area today, specifically anatomically in the back body, but also knowing when we work on this area, we are opening into the heart, allowing more space to breathe, letting go of some things that we might be holding on to that we don't need to hold on to. So begin to deepen your breath now, and we're going to add Ujjayi texture, which is also called ocean breath. So if that's new to you, it's like a gentle constriction, like when you fog your glasses to clean them. So find it first on the exhale, that sense of sighing out the out breath. And then see if you can find that on the inhale, just a gentle bit of constriction in the back of the throat. It's like a vibration. If it's making you a little unhappy to do this breath, then feel free to not do it. I know when I first was introduced to it, I really didn't like it. I found it too aggressive in some way. And then I had a teacher who asked us to do it in a restorative practice, and it was profoundly better. You have to give things second chances, right? Give things time. Be in the right space to accept it. And relax your breath. And let's come back into moving the body now that we've calmed things down. So just maybe circle your wrists, stretch out your fingers in your hands. And same thing with your feet. Circle the ankles, spread out your toes, curl them. Just waking up those joints, and then add the arms and legs. So lengthening out with the arms, lengthening out with your legs. Just stretching in any way that feels intuitive, wherever you're finding tightness. You could rotate the legs and the hips, turning the feet towards each other, turning the toes away from each other, circling the ankles, reaching up more with one arm and then more with another arm. It's one of the beauties of doing this practice online is you're in the privacy of your home and you can just really tune in to what you need. And then let's take the arms right up overhead on the floor and the legs straight down. Okay. And just take a few breaths where you lengthen up on the inhale and feel the lengthening into the shoulders and upper back, and maybe feel the lengthening into the sides of your waist and into your hips. And you can add a little wiggle, kind of shimmy the hips left and right. Same thing with the shoulders, reaching up more with one arm, reaching up more with the other. And then we'll keep the arms overhead, but come into a side bend to the right. So lift your shoulders a little bit off the mat and shift over to the right corner of your mat, arms coming off the right side. And then likewise, take your feet to the right. So maybe hook the right foot onto the side of the mat and maybe take the left ankle on top of the right. If that's too much, back up with your feet. And you can also assist here by grabbing your left wrist with your right hand and just lengthen into that left side body. So tuning into your breath here, adding the Ujjayi texture if that's working for you. I usually find it quite doable on the exhale, a little more work on the inhale. And take specific note of what you're finding. So for me today, I'm feeling a lot in the side of my left leg and also into my shoulder and back. A couple more breaths here. Noticing the effect of the breath on the shape that you're in. Okay, so let's come out of this side bend. Bring your feet back into the mat. and shift and get your upper body vertical as well. And just take a couple of breaths, lengthening, noticing the after effect of coming out of that side bend in the left side. And then we'll build the shape the other way. So we'll shift your shoulders and your back over to the left corner of your mat. Take your left heel over to the left side of your mat and maybe hook the right heel on top. Whoa, that's a lot today. I'm going to back up a little bit. You can grab your right wrist and give a little tug there. And just stay here, opening into the right side, breathing into any tight parts, and noticing specifically where you're feeling sensation on the right side. Good. And then we'll just bring ourselves back into the middle of the mat. Walk your feet in towards you and hug your knees. Come into a little ball here. Just bringing the sides back together, kind of feeling the aftermath of the side awakening. And then let your right leg go down, and we'll keep holding on to the left leg. You can hold on to the shin or the back of the thigh, whatever feels better for your knee. And just give that left leg a good squeeze in towards your side. Maybe explore this hip a little bit, taking the knee a little further out to the left and bringing it back towards the midline. Just go back and forth a couple of times. And then let's come over into a twist to the right. So grab hold of your left knee with your right hand and roll over onto your right side. Depending how this is feeling in your shoulder today, you can keep your elbow bent, or you can take that left arm up and out on an angle to the left with the palm facing up. And really feel the inner arm and the shoulder, allowing that left shoulder to relax as much as you can. And then playing a little bit with the sensation in the left hip by pulling the knee closer to you and then moving the knee a little bit away and just getting into some layers in your glutes and in your leg. You can let the knee straighten, you can let the knee bend. Good, and then slowly come out of the twist. Draw both knees in. And just pause for a moment, noticing how the left side feels. And then we'll let the left leg go down and really hug in that right leg. Squeeze it in nice and tight. And begin to explore the right hip and thigh. So opening out to the right and then pulling the knee back towards the midline. Pause on any part of that where you're feeling tightness. Just give it a little more time. There we go. And then we'll bring the right knee across the body and roll over onto your left hip. Again, just go as far as feels right for you today and open out that right arm and shoulder, allowing the right shoulder blade to soften. Maybe turning your head to the right and exploring the right hip, bringing the knee closer, moving the knee away. If you've got anything going on in the low back and this doesn't feel helpful to you, back up a little bit, come into a shape that feels like the right amount of sensation. These lower body twists and that little bit of give and take, that playing with the edges, can be very helpful depending on what's going on in your low back. It can take some tension off the low back by releasing tension in your glutes. It can also help with things like sciatica, piriformis syndrome. And just general tightness, which we've all got in one degree or another. Let's come on out of that twist and just let your feet come onto the mat with your knees bent. Okay. So feet are wide, and let's let the knees touch each other. And we'll take the arms up into the air. So just lift your chest a little and try to slide the shoulder blades in under your back, and the arms are reaching up with the palms facing each other. And then we're going to let the shoulder blades come apart. So reach up even higher and feel the shoulder blades slide away from each other on the mat. And then as you exhale, we're going to tuck them back in. So pull the arms down. Arms are still straight up, but just really hugging the shoulder blades in towards each other. And then inhale and lift again. Pull them apart. And exhale and tuck them back in and under. So feeling those two opposites. Inhale, creating a sense of stretch in the back, laterally. And then exhale and squeezing in and under. One more time. And then we'll bend the elbows, drop your elbows down to the floor, straight out from your shoulders, and your hands are still up in the air above the elbows. Make a little fist with your hands. And we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades in towards each other as you push the arms down into the floor. Make little fists with your hands so you're really firing a few things up in your arms and your back. And then exhale and release and wiggle your fingers. So inhale and squeeze, pushing into the floor quite firmly. Exhale and release. A couple more of these. Inhale, squeeze. Pay attention to your neck. Try not to hold tension there, but keep it long. And exhale and release. So all the work is happening in the big back muscles. One more time. Inhale, squeeze, pushing down into the floor. Feel the back working. And exhale and release. Okay, so the next bit is some rotational work. If you have something going on in a shoulder that this is not healthy for, then don't do the part that's going to hurt you, okay? Or just let that one arm rest if you need to. But otherwise, if we can, we're going to try to externally rotate. So the elbows are still on the floor, hands are in the air, but take the backs of the hands now towards the floor beside your head. And just see how that feels. Pause for a moment. Notice the left side, notice the right side. Okay, and then we'll bring the hands back up to the top. And then just as carefully, go the other way. Take the palms down towards the floor beside the hips. Whatever amount. If you get to the floor, notice if you're touching equally on the left side and the right side. Notice what's going on in each shoulder. Okay, inhale, bring the hands back up. And exhale, externally rotate. Backs of the hands towards the floor. If there is something going on in a shoulder, you can still do the rotation, but maybe bring the hand to the shoulder so you're bending the elbow. And just with the hand on the shoulder, you can be a lot more moderate with the movement. Okay, inhale, hands back up to vertical. Exhale, palms down on the floor beside you. And just roll through that a couple more times, moving with your breath. And if you like, if it's working for you, add the Ujjayi texture, the ocean breath. Okay, so let's bring the arms back up in the air, palms facing each other again. And bend your elbows now and grab the opposite elbows with your hands. So little genie arms. You're going to take the arms across the body to the right. So pull the left arm over and maybe take the right elbow towards the floor. May not get there, that's okay. And just take some really deep breaths now into your left back. So feel how the shoulder blade is sliding away from the spine right now. And as you breathe into the left side of your lungs, the left side of your back, notice how the breath really assists the sensations. Okay, bring the elbows back up to the top And then we'll go the other way. So taking the elbows towards the left, pulling the right arm across your body, feeling the connection into your, I feel that in my bicep in this arm and the shoulder and my shoulder blade, and everything is giving me some feedback. And then come on back out. Just let the arms rest down beside you on the mat. Take a pause. Feel the aftermath of all those micro movements to awaken the back and the shoulders. All right. So roll to one side and come on up to sitting for a moment. And here's where you're going to need your towel or your blanket. So a towel might be smaller, but what we're going to do is make a roll with whatever it is you have. So I'm just going to roll up one end until I get a shape, something like this. Okay. And we'll take a guess at which prop is going to work for you when you get down working with it. If it feels like it's too much or not enough, you can switch to the other prop. So I think I'm going to be okay with the blanket, but some of you might prefer the towel. It's a little less. So we're going to take the blanket or towel lengthwise up the mat. So it's going to be behind our spine. And we're going to lay back down. And you want to have the end of the blanket or the roll at the bottom of your ribs. So not at your waist, a little higher up, so that you can lengthen the low back and not compress the low back. Your head will rest on the roll, and you can kind of feel your shoulder blades really connecting into that roll too. So come back to having your feet wide and your knees bent, and with the knees tucking towards each other, which again takes a little strain off the low back. And we'll start by reaching the arms up into the air. Okay, so I'm going to do the same 4 or 5 things that we did without the roll underneath us, but with that roll there, it's going to give us a lot more feedback. So again, go at your own speed, go with whatever amount of movement feels like the right amount for you today. So let's see if we can lift the arms a little higher and pull the shoulder blades apart. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back into your body and really hug that roll, squeezing the scapula together. Feel the back working. Inhale, release that and lift up and stretch. And then exhale and hug into the bolster again. Keep going with that. Inhale, lifting, maybe going a little higher. Palms are facing each other. And exhale and squeeze into the bolster. One more time. Lifting up. And exhale and squeezing in. Okay, let's bend the elbows. Drop the elbows out from your shoulders, hands up in the air above the elbows. And just make little fists here. And once again, we're going to squeeze. So breathe out and squeeze the bolster or the roll with your shoulder blades and press the elbows into the floor. And breathe in and release. Wiggle your fingers. So exhale and squeeze, hug the roll. Really feel those back muscles working. And inhale and release. So the letting go is just as important as the work. Enjoy both parts of this. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release. I think the breath works better that way. So one more time. Inhale, squeeze, lifting the heart. And exhale and release. Okay. Let's lift the arms back up into the air. Bend the elbows. Grab your opposite elbows. And let's go to the right. So pull the left arm across. Try not to fall off the roll. And really waking up these layers in our back. Again, trying to direct the breath more into the left side of your body. Using the breath to kind of peak the sensation of the stretch and the shape. Keep adding that ujjayi texture to your breath if that's working for you today. All right, bring the elbows back up to the top and we'll go the other way, pulling the right arm across your body, taking the left elbow towards the floor, and trying to direct the breath into the right side. Really letting your back sink around that roll. Okay, come on back up and we'll bring the elbows down onto the floor again, hands in the air so elbows are wide. And we'll do the rotations again, modify. This is going to be a little more intense than when we didn't have the roll there. So just go really slow, be really respectful of what your body's trying to tell you. So start by taking the backs of the hands towards the floor beside your head, whatever amount, very different this way. Inhale and bring the hands back up to vertical, and exhale, palms down towards your hips. Good. Inhale back to vertical. Exhale, backs of the hands to the floor. So this time, as I do this, I'm more aware of my traps, the muscles that lead up into the neck. Inhale, back to vertical. Exhale, palms down. So just noticing everything that your body's trying to tell you. And intensity and stretch, all those things can feel really needed. But we also have to pay attention to when that might be too much, especially if you do have something going on in a joint. Let's do one more round. Good. Just let your arms go down beside you. Take a few more breaths here, breathing onto that roll. And then we'll come on off of the roll, sit back up again, and change the orientation of the blanket or the towel so that it's across the mat. Okay. And we're going to recline over this roll. When we lay down on it, we want to end up with the roll right at the back ribs, so kind of below your shoulder blades. All right. So just take a moment to get the roll behind your back ribs. If it's too much, you can take your towel and put that underneath your head. And have the knees bent again, feet wide and the knees touching. If your shoulders are okay, come into cactus arms here with the backs of the hands towards the floor beside your head. And if this is too much for anyone, feel free to take the roll out and just lay on your back like this. Giving this maybe 5 rounds of breath, breathing in through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. And each time you breathe out, see if you can soften onto the roll. See if you can relax the tops of your shoulders. One more big breath. Okay, bring your arms back in, bring your feet together. And if you like, you can roll to one side or just lift your hips up and take the roll right out from underneath you. Lay yourself back down on the mat. And we'll draw the knees in. Boy, does that feel good to take that roll out from underneath. But my back feels quite alive now, quite awake. Just rocking side to side, rocking out the mid and upper back. So rolling onto one shoulder and then onto the other. And then we'll bring the feet down to the sides of the mat again, knees bent. Take the arms up overhead if you can. And do some slow knee sways. So take both knees to the right and really open now into your left thigh. And reach up and out with your left arm. So really connecting into that left side body again. On your inhale, bring the knees back up, and then exhale, take the knees to the left and open into your right side. So really kind of pressing the hip up and lengthening out with the arm. And just move back and forth with your breath. Pausing when you find that big stretch. So when we feel a stretch in the soft tissues, the muscles, the connective tissue, that's lovely, that's fair game, and that's, where we can deal with tightness is by getting into those soft tissues. When we move into a stretch, so when we feel something really uncomfortable in a joint, like a knee or the hip or the low back, we need to really pay attention to that and back up a little bit. Muscles being tight are one thing, the joints are another. We need to be much more mindful of what our joints are telling us. All right, let's bring the knees back up one more time, hug them in. What would we do without this little pose, Apanasana? Just hugging ourselves and rocking. And then roll to one side and come on up to sitting up. If you like, you can sit on your blanket or your towel. Sometimes that feels better for the low back. And if you can, sit cross-legged. All right. So we're going to take the arms out in front of us and bring the hands together so the fingertips are all touching and the arms are long. Then try to pull the shoulder blades into your back. So just trying to correct some postural habits that I have, and I'm assuming a lot of us have, whereby the head comes forward and we round our back. So just trying to stay nice and tall today and pulling the shoulders into your back. And then on your inhale, open that up like you're opening a big window and squeeze your back. And exhale and bring it back together. Again, respecting any issues with the shoulder. Don't go too hard or too fast. Inhale and open that up again, lifting the heart. Exhale, back together. So one more time. Inhale, opening, squeezing the back, a little back extension here. And then exhale and bring it back together. This time open up into a V. So inhale and lift. Pull the arms up and maybe wiggle a little bit here, getting into your sides and getting into the back. Exhale, bring that back down, shoulder blades back. Inhale, open it up again, just move in any way that feels helpful. Twisting, a little side bending. Exhale, bring that back down. My back is on fire right now. One more time, inhale, lifting up. Oh, turn your head side to side. And then exhale and let the arms come down. Bring the soles of the feet together. We'll come into bound angle, so holding onto your legs. And again, just thinking about our postures. So pull the shoulder blades into your back, lifting the chest, kind of squeezing the arms against your side ribs. And pull the chin in, so the chin is right above your collarbones. Okay. Imagine if you had a little grapefruit that you're holding here, tucking it against the collarbones and against your chin. Really squeeze the shoulder blades into your back. Keep your gaze forward. See then if you can press the knees a little more towards the mat, whatever amount. And again, sitting on a blanket might make this a little more doable. And then relax all of that and let your shoulders pull apart. Let the chin come towards the chest and really lean back. You've got a good grip on your legs. Stay back here for a little bit and rock the head left and right. Maybe rock your body a little left and right. So the more you're leaning back, the more you're going to feel kind of a traction stretch into that area that we've been working on, that mid back, upper back, and neck. And then moving with the breath on the inhale, come back to sitting nice and tall. All those same things about the posture, shoulder blades into your back. And then exhale and release and round back into that seated cat. Inhale, lifting up, opening up the heart. Exhale, leaning back, letting the head come down. One more time. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding back. And then come on back up and just bring your knees together. Oof, okay. Find your belt or bathrobe tie or whatever you have. And we'll throw this over, let's throw it over your right shoulder. It could be the towel even. It doesn't have to be a strap. Take your right arm up in the air and bend the elbow and find the back of your shoulder with your hand. Again, if you've got something going on in the shoulder, just don't push it, okay? But we're going to try to find the belt with your hand. And then take your left arm out to the side with the thumb down, or even rotate so the thumb is pointing behind you. And then take the back of the hand and slide it up your back and find your belt or your towel or whatever you have. Try to keep your head really tall. It's kind of tempting to let the head fall forward here, but nice and tall in your posture as you open up the shoulders. Inhale, lift the elbow a little more. Exhale, inch the fingers a little closer. A lot of sensation. Front of the left shoulder, the back of the right shoulder. And then let it go. Take your right arm up in front of you and see if you can hook your left elbow under the right elbow. You might just get to here, and that's fine. Some of you might be able to get your hands together. Good. And then try to keep that right shoulder down. Keep your hands away from your face. Turn sideways. And sit nice and tall again. Shoulders into your back, gazes forward. Breathing into your back now. Feel the back ribs move. And then slowly let it go. And just come into a little bit of a forward fold here. You can rest your elbows on your thighs, let the head come down. And just turn your head left and right. If you're finding any tight bits or there's any crunching or cracking going on, go a little slower. And then come on back up. Okay, let's do these on the other side. So take your strap over your left shoulder. And take your left arm up. Bend the elbow, find the strap with your hand if you can, or it can rest on the back of your head. Take your right arm out, thumb down, rotate behind, slide it up behind. Any little adjustment. Again, really try to keep the head balanced on your neck, so not tipping forward or to the side. Inhale to tip the elbow up a little more. Exhale to inch the fingers closer. Oof, it's intense. If you need to come out, come out. Just give this a couple more breaths. And then slowly let that go. Wow, feels really good to come out of that. Take your left arm up, right arm under, whatever amount. And again, keep your hands away from your face. Keep the shoulders down, maybe tip the elbows up a little more. Take a few deep breaths here. Feeling all those layers in our back. Your big trap muscles, the top of the back and the neck. Your latissimus dorsi, big V-shaped muscle coming up from the low back. And those rhomboids going left and right. And then let that go. Wow. And just come on over into your forward fold again, letting the head come down. Rocking your head a little left, a little right. And then bring yourself back up. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see this next bit. I'm going to bring the fingertips behind you on the mat. Some of you might be able to get the palms of your hands down. Depends on how your back is feeling. But really opening the chest now. So inhale and lift the chest, squeeze your back. Don't let the head fall back. Keep the head aligned on your neck. And then exhale and relax. So inhale, back extension here in the mid and upper back, squeezing the back muscles. Exhale and relax it. So really firing up those muscles. One more time. Inhale, squeeze, lift the heart. Feel the expansion in the chest, and then exhale and release. Beautiful. Let's come around onto our hands and knees. And if there's any discomfort in the knees, please put the blanket there or roll up your mat to give you a little more cushioning. And we'll walk the feet, excuse me, right down to the bottom of the mat. And then walk your hands as far ahead as you can. So spread the palms wide. Push the heels of the hands into the mat and sink your chest down, sinking the heart down towards the mat. So the arms are engaged. You're pushing ahead with the hands. So the elbows are not on the mat. But try to pull the arm bones back into your body and slide the shoulder blades into your back. Pull the front ribs in so you lengthen the low back. And maintain all of that aligned posture and play with this edge. So on your inhale, lift up. And on your exhale, sink back into it, pulling the hips back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulling back. Just playing with that edge, coming in and out of it. Next time you come up, we'll take the hands off the mat to the right. So just walk off onto the floor and go carefully into this side bend version of puppy. So just sinking the hips back, slowly sinking the chest down and feeling that opening up the left side of your body. Inhale, come back up and walk your hands back across the mat and off to the left side. And give this a few breaths, sinking into your right shoulder. And then come on back up and we'll bring the forearms down onto the mat. So make a little tripod, clasping the hands together. The elbows right underneath your shoulders, so not too wide. And maybe move the forearms ahead a little bit and bring yourself forward so your head is right over your hands. Now think about the alignment. Don't let the head fall down. Keep the shoulder blades tucked into your back. And then start to saw back. So I'm just pulling the hips back. My head is now moving sort of just above my elbows. And if that feels okay, maybe pull back a little more and get your head in between the two arms. If it's too much, just do the amount that feels reasonable for you. Inhale and saw forward again, getting the head over the hands. And then exhale and pull back. Whatever amount. A couple more times. Try to press the sides of your wrists into the mat. Good. And then come on back up onto your hands and we'll just walk ourselves up into downward dog. Stretching out the back of the legs as well as the back. Pedal your legs. And then walk your feet forward. Take your time, rolling up to standing up. And again, just think about your posture as you stand up. So the core is engaged. The ribs are not jutting out at the front. They're balanced over your hips, but the shoulder blades are into your back. Your gaze is forward. As opposed to this, slumping. Try to pull the shoulders up and back and down into your back. We should walk around like this the rest of the day. What do you think? I think we get funny looks. It's okay. Okay, so come to standing with your feet right under your hips. Pick the shoulders up and back and down. Just letting the arms move around as you explore the scapula again. Pick your elbows up and make big circles with your elbows so you can really squeeze your back here. I got some crunching going on. Take the arms up nice and high and open up. So maybe rounding as you come forward and then back extension here, opening the chest as you bring the arms back behind you. One more big circle. Good. And then take your hands onto your thighs, slide your hands down your legs, and just slowly come down into a forward bend, letting the back round, letting the head go upside down. You can keep holding onto your legs, or you can cup the opposite elbows and dangle. And pedal the legs. So feeling sensation in the back of the legs, which also connects into the low back. And really let the weight of your head hang. So creating a ballast by just letting the head
completely dangle, letting the arms completely dangle. Letting your body move around a little bit. And then bring yourself back down to the mat. And we'll just turn around and lay down on your back. Let's bring your feet wide on the sides of the mat again. So get yourself centered on your mat, feet wide, knees bent. Arms up overhead with the palms up if that's accessible to you, and do those slow knee sways. So taking the knees to the right, opening it to the left hip, and just noticing if anything feels different after getting this far in the practice. So we're going to check in on a few of the things that we did at the beginning. So just keep going with this, taking the knees to one side, breathing in as you come up, and breathing out as you go to the other side. Relaxing your back and your shoulders. Just feeling those lovely side body connections. Just imagining yourself growing a little taller here. Okay, so bring your arms back down and bring your feet closer together. And then let's bring the left knee in and let your right leg go down. Just pause for a moment, noticing how the legs feel, the hips, the low back. And begin to explore that left hip, taking the knee to the left and then bringing it back and bringing the knee towards the midline. Just use your hands to help move the leg around. Going nice and slow, pausing on any part that feels tight still. Only here to listen to your body and nurture it. Be kind to your body. It does so much for us. Next time you bring the knee towards the midline, grab it with your right hand and roll over onto your right hip. Whatever amount, and maybe opening the left arm and shoulder out to the left. And again, that little bit of exploration, pulling the knee closer, moving the knee away. Really big twist. Come on out of the twist. And let's take both legs down and both arms up overhead. So right in the center of your mat. And we'll come into the side bend that we did at the beginning. So shift your shoulders and your arms to the right side of the mat. So we're going to side bend to the right. Take your feet to the right and hook the left ankle on top. You can grab your left wrist with your right hand. And if you can remember how this felt at the beginning of practice, just noticing if anything's changed. If it's too much, back up a bit with your feet. Take a few rounds of breath here, practicing the Ujjayi texture if that's working for you. And then slowly come out of your side bend, get back into the middle of your mat. Let the right leg come in and take the left leg down. And again, just exploring your right hip, taking the knee to the side, bringing it back across the midline. Pause on any part that's giving you feedback. And then we'll keep going over into the twist to the left. So grabbing your right leg with your left hand and opening over onto your left side, taking the right arm out to the side. Just moving little increments of moving the knee closer or away, pausing on any part that's tight. And just allowing yourself to be really present, really slow down, paying attention to these little subtleties, these little nuances. When we bring our attention there and we're kind, we bring healing. And it gives us hope that we can make change in our bodies. We can make change in our lives. All right, slowly come out of that twist. Take the legs down and the arms up overhead and come into the side bend to the left. So shift your shoulders and arms to the left. Take your feet to the left. Ooh, that's a little too much on this side. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Just breathe into the tightness. And then slowly unwrap that. Excuse me, bring yourself back into the middle of your mat. Let's draw the knees in. Rock a little bit on your back. And then take a moment to settle in Shavasana. You might want to tuck a pillow or a blanket under your knees. You might want to take the roll of the blanket or the towel, just make it a smaller roll, and put that under the back of your neck. So not elevating the head, but just giving the neck a little bit of support can be quite comforting. Take a moment to get the sides feeling symmetrical and letting go with your legs, letting go with your hips, and letting go with your shoulders. So maybe lift your chest and pull the shoulders down onto your back again, and then let them rest. Tune into your breathing now, just evening the breath out, taking delicious breaths in and out. And imagine in your heart center, your emotional heart, the center of your chest, that there's a very lovely, warm, glowing light. Might be a soft yellow color, might be pink, it might be green. And as you breathe in, let that light become brighter, denser, more magnified. As you breathe out, let the light expand out into your body. So inhale, intensifying that nurturing, glowing light, warm energy. Exhale, letting it emanate out to wherever it's needed. And keep working with that visualization, fanning the light as you breathe in. And then this time as you exhale, let the light travel up to your head, up to the back of your head and around your skull. Inhale back to the heart, brightening the light. Exhale, let it travel up and just release tension anywhere that it finds it in your head, your scalp, your jaw. And then the next breath out, let the light emanate into the back of your neck, where the neck meets the skull, and down to where the neck meets the shoulders. So inhale, fanning the light. Exhale, bringing healing to the back of the neck.
And the next time you breathe out, let the breath and that warm light emanate across the top of your shoulders, right from the neck, along the traps, down your shoulders. Bringing healing, bringing relaxation. And then fanning the breath on the inhale, fanning the glow on the exhale this time. Let the glow travel into that mid-back area that we've been working so much today. So that area between the shoulder blades. And so each breath out is bringing healing and relaxation to your mid-back, your upper back, your shoulders, your neck, and the back, and all around your head. And just like a blessing, allow your thoughts and your breath to completely slow down now. Almost a sense of floating here. And little bit by little bit, come back into your body. Breathing more deeply again. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe circling the wrists, circling the ankles. Add the arms and legs and come into any long stretch. Moving into any shape with the arms wide or overhead or just wherever they want to be. Take a few delicious breaths, stretching long, releasing on the exhale. Welcoming your body back. And let's hug the knees, rock a little bit on your back. Maybe roll to one side. And take your time coming up to sitting up. Ah. Well, thank you each for being here today, for sharing the practice, and for being so diligent with releasing things in your back and neck. If any of that really did work for you, try adding that in tonight before you go to bed too. It's never one thing that's going to fix a sore spot. It's kind of a consistent practice of releasing the tension. Okay, thank you. Namaste.